غرباء 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 غرباء.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Welcome to this very special edition of Chai Chat in the blessed month of Ramadan. We've just prayed here at Green Lane Masjid, and as always, by the grace of Allah, the atmosphere has been absolutely amazing. We've witnessed thousands of worshippers here all gathered to worship their Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala behind our Imams. And bearing this in mind, today we have our very distinguished guest, Qari Muhammad Uthman Qasim, who is with us today. And before I actually go on to Qari Muhammad Uthman Qasim, I want to give you a little intro, a bit of biography, some background about him. And Qari Muhammad Uthman Qasim completed his memorization of the Quran in the short period of 2 months at Jamia al-Muhafadha al-Quran al-Kareem in Zarqa, Jordan in 2004. Following his completion of memorization, Qari Uthman was given the opportunity to undertake Quranic studies at the prestigious al-Qura University in Mecca. In 2005, he graduated from the Faculty of Arabic Language for non-native speakers. He has led the Tarawih prayers in many different places around the world, including Mecca, Kuwait, and America. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome to Chai Chat. How are you? Okay, mashallah. Such a pleasure to have you here. Is this the first time that you've prayed at Green Lane Masjid, led the prayer?
This is the first time in Tarawih prayer. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you feel? I mean, you've witnessed the atmosphere here at Green Lane Masjid. How does that make you feel, seeing all the people here, different races, different nationalities, all the brotherhood here at the Masjid? How does that make you feel?
Inshallah, yani, the brotherhood and everything, it's a ni'mah, to be honest. But the big thing is it's overwhelming to see such a capacity of the crowd, mashallah, tabarakallah. It's probably one of the biggest crowds I've seen while leading prayer in Tarawih, apart from Masjid al-Qattan in Mecca also.
Okay.
I think from different cultures and backgrounds, this was the place that, mashallah, you have the most variety of people.
Okay, subhanAllah. This includes all the travels that you've done across the world. This is the masjid where you've seen the most congregation.
Yes, mashallah.
Okay, subhanAllah. Okay, now let us talk a bit about your what actually made you become a hafiz. What was your aspiration or any inspiration that you had in life which kind of inspired you to become a hafiz?
Well, to be honest, we grew up, mashallah, with the Quran. Thanks to my mum, Allah yarhamaha, she just passed away. But biggest inspiration for me was my 2 elder brothers, Abu Bakr and Umar, mashallah, tabarakallah. And I was to follow. Of course, if Abu Bakr and Umar are going that way, Uthman needs to follow them and go the same way,
of
mashallah.
course, yes.
So, biggest inspiration were those 2.
Okay.
To be honest, mashallah, alongside parents, of course, the first.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So, just a bit about your background, if you want to just mention to the viewers, what really inspired you to become a hafiz, and what was the great motivation in your life? If you just want to explain this to the viewers.
The biggest motivation, I can say that is, subhanallah, the family. You won't believe it. The family, the way your parents raise you, subhanallah, it has a big effect throughout your whole life. And of course, if there's living examples in your family, then hopefully you're going to follow, mashallah, and be successful in this field.
Now, something that I looked at in the bio when I was reading this out, and something that was mentioned previously to me before, was that you actually memorized the Quran in 2 months. Now, subhanallah, this was really, I was really amazed at this. Was there anything that you did additional to memorizing in terms of anything that you ate, like badam and almonds and pistachios and milk, like they do in the subcontinent, or was this just a intense day and night, 2 months of...
of course, no doubt. This was an intensive course in the city of Zarqa in Jordan. It was a 2 months hifz course that they had, and it was for the first time that they were holding it. Previously, they had been holding it for 2 years, subhanallah.
2 years, okay.
2 years, and they cut it down to 2 months just to find out and just to experiment what happens. So subhanallah, we were 15 of us studying the Quran, memorizing, and all 15 of us, mashallah, had completed the Quran in 2 months. Subhanallah. And it was like an intensive course, of course, as I said, which was 20 hours a day and night. Subhanallah. And 4 hours rest, subhanallah, and 20 hours was the hifz.
Okay, subhanallah. And the people who were there, were they the same age as you, or were they different?
No,
age
subhanallah, we
backgrounds?
had all kinds of ages. We had from 8 years old to 55 years old.
Oh, subhanallah.
From 8 years old to
55 years
55.
old.
That was the eldest.
Okay.
That was the eldest. The youngest one was 8 years old and the oldest was 55. Subhanallah.
There's some hope for my uncle.
Of course there's hope.
Yes,
Of course there's
okay,
hope.
inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. And okay, brings me on to my next question. My personal favorite reciter is Mishari Rashid Al-Fasi. All the time, at home, in the car, traveling.
Mashallah.
He's my favorite, alhamdulillah. So who is your favorite reciter and why?
Okay, since you've asked me who my favorite reciter is, it's Muhammad Ayub bin Muhammad Yusuf. He's originally Burmese, but he was born and raised in Mecca and then moved to Medina and then led the prayers, Tarawih prayers in Masjid Nabawi. But let me ask you, your favorite reciter is Mishari Al-Afasi,
Yes.
but why? Do you have a reason? I mean, why? I mean, before I tell you why, my favorite is
I like this.
Muhammad
This
Ayub.
is reverse psychology, isn't it? Okay, and okay, the reason I like Mishari Rashid Al-Fasi is that he has this special, the way he recites really touches my heart.
Mashallah.
Really moves me, inspires me, motivates me, and really has this cooling effect on me. I suppose he has this on many people across the world because he is very
of course.
popular.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
Of course. MashaAllah, for Muhammad Ayub, the core reason for why I enjoy listening to him and is my favorite reciter is because he fulfills every condition of a correct recitation,
Okay.
i.e. makharij al-huruf, the articulation points of the letters which come out is
Yes.
absolutely, mashallah, close to perfect. The second point is the ahkam at-tajweed, also it's perfect. And thirdly, which is the most difficult one, is in Arabic we say husnu ada'i tilawa. This is basically the controlling of the voice, beautifying the voice, the speed of the qira'ah, and all this is, mashallah, absolutely perfect in terms of the qira'ah, mashallah.
Like we touched up earlier, you've said that you've been to many places and you've led the Tarawih prayer in many places. Which has been your favourite place that you've recited, apart from Green Lane obviously, and why?
Okay, of course, yani, if one is leading the prayers in Makkah al-Mukarramah, this is a big blessing and an honor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within itself.
Yes.
No doubt about that. So the place that I enjoyed the most, of course, is Makkah al-Mukarramah, leading there for the first time. I only led there once and it was amazing experience. And I've not felt that, of course, anywhere else in the world. Makkah al-Mukarramah is Makkah.
Mashallah, okay. So, now we've discussed your aspirations, what led you to become a Hafiz of the Quran. We've talked about your different places that you visited, which reciter is your favorite. Now let's take a step back and look at Qari Uthman Qasim. What really makes you chill out? What really makes you relax? How do you really chill out?
To be honest, the Quran makes me relax.
MashaAllah.
But if you're talking about me as staying active physically and stuff like this, it's playing football and cricket and stuff like this.
You play football?
Do you have a football here?
I
I can show you.
Well, I bet you can't get past me.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
I
There's
bet
only
you-
one way to find out.
Well, now we got time, guys. Now, no, we haven't got. I've been told by the director we haven't got time now, but later on. But I beat you in slam.
Slam.
Yeah,
What's slam?
you don't know how to play slam against the wall, hit it, kick the ball.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
You-
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we've done your chilling out. I hear you like to play cricket as well.
I do.
That's
yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
sport which I'm quite passionate about as well.
Yeah. Sometimes,
So being a Pakistani, you must be an all-rounder.
of course.
Yes,
Of course.
you can bat and bowl.
I can bat and ball.
Okay, but sometimes you have your days when you drop catches, I suppose.
Sometimes.
Yes. Okay. No problem. Okay. You have a passion for football. Which football team do you support?
Al-Ittihad.
Ittihad.
Al-Ittihad
Okay.
is
For
a-
our
is-
viewers out there who are probably checking Premier Division and Vauxhall Conference, but where do they play?
They play in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, Saudi Arabia. Okay.
I don't enjoy watching them play.
Okay.
I enjoy watching Man United play actually.
Okay.
But I like Ittihad.
Okay.
There's some brothers in there, mashallah, that have, they pray and stuff like this. So, mashallah. And
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So We talked about this earlier when you mentioned that your brothers have also memorized the Quran. So I want to give you a scenario in your house. Okay, your brother Hafiz Umar Qasim, mashallah. For those of you who know him, he led the Tarawih prayer a few years ago at Green Lane Masjid. You're in a situation now where you're both at home and it's time for the Maghrib prayer. Now, who leads the prayer? Is it a case of you flick a coin that you say very cleverly that heads I will lead and tails that you will pray behind me? How do you do this?
Well, we have a referee who's he's actually the referee. He says round one, and then we start fighting, and whoever wins the fight leads the prayer.
Okay.
No, actually, subhanAllah, I just because he's elder and mashallah more knowledgeable also, I say lead the prayer.
Okay.
And he'll say to me lead the prayer also, but
Okay.
I'll insist that he leads the prayer.
Okay, mashallah. You've come a long way. Memorizing the Quran in 2 months, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah. Now, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where does Qari Uthman Qasim see himself in the next 5 years? Do you want to share this with the audience?
Of course. Well, in the next 5 years, I still have 4 years left for my studies, for the completion of my studies. So that will, of course, be a year after the completion of my studies.
And you're completing your studies in
the Quran,
Okay.
in Ulum al-Quran, which is the sciences of Quran.
Okay.
But I see myself in 5 years' time, where I see myself in 30 years' time if I live. That's teaching the Quran.
Okay.
Just teaching the
Inshallah.
Quran. Like I'm doing now, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
And since I started learning the Quran, I started to teach the Quran straight away. So once I was qualified by the mashayikh to teach, this is what I see myself throughout my whole career, inshallah. Just teaching the Quran.
Mashallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Finally, last point that I want to touch upon. In our most recent summer conference that took place, we had a special session dedicated for our madrasa students who are also budding huffaz in the future, inshallah. May Allah make them into huffaz. Can you share any tips or anything that can possibly motivate them? Any techniques to share with our younger viewers or anybody else, for that instance, who's watching at home? Is there anything that you want to share with us?
I can only share what I've been through, my experiences. My experience in memorizing the Quran was, if I listened to the Quran, this was the main thing for me to memorize. Basically, I would listen to the Quran as much as possible. So much that I would memorize the Quran without even looking at the Quran.
Inshallah.
Just by listening.
Okay.
So this was my experience, and I can
Okay.
only share my experience with
Okay.
the viewers.
That's a
And
tip, isn't it? So
that's the.
One
I mean,
tip.
there's many ways, methods of learning the Quran.
Okay.
But this, for me, was the most effective method
Okay.
for learning the Quran.
Okay. Anything else that you want to share with the students?
Of course, the Quran must be recited on a regular basis. Consistency in the Qur'an means every single day, and if you leave the Quran for a few days or even a day, it will run away from you. As we know in the hadith, the Quran it leaves the person so quickly if you don't keep on top of the revision, muraja and stuff like this. So listening and also keeping on top of the revision on a daily basis.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. So some of the madrasa students, we had a little qiraat competition, and I don't know if you want to share this with the audience, whether you can demonstrate for a minute or so, reciting some passages from the Quran.
Yeah,
If you'd like to share that with us, Jazakallah khair.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين وإن عاقبتم فعاقبوا بمثل ما عوقبتم به وَلَئِن صَبَرْتُمْ لَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لِلصَّابِرِينَ وَاصْبِرْ وَمَا صَبْرُكَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ وَلَا تَحْزَنْ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا تَكُ فِي ضَيْقٍ مِّمَّا يَمْكُرُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, many of the things that we witness, unfortunately, is that many students, they memorize the Quran and it takes them 5 years, 6 years sometimes, and then it's unfortunate really to see them a few years later, and some of them don't really pray, and some of them don't really have the attachment with the masjid. What really kind of connects you with the Quran? Was there any difference in the way that you first didn't understand the Quran, and did that really inspire you to think differently when you did begin to understand the Quran?
Of course.
Can you share this with our viewers? Is it very important to understand the Quran as well as memorizing the whole Quran?
The understanding of the Quran affects you in so many ways. Affects the one that's reciting the Quran and the one that's listening to the Quran. So my qira'ah, before I started to learn the Arabic language and actually understood what I was reciting, was completely different, subhanAllah. After I had learned the Arabic language and understood what I'm reciting, the qira'ah completely changed. And so many people even mention it to me. Now your qira'ah is different to how you used to recite when you were young. And that's the reason. It's of course you feel the qira'ah, you feel the meaning of the ayat, you feel what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you now.
Yeah.
As opposed to when I was reciting and you don't know what's subhanAllah going on.
Yeah.
You don't know what your Lord is saying to you.
Yeah. So it's very important to have an understanding of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually saying to His slave, as well as obviously memorizing the Quran. It's a very important lesson to the budding young students who are memorizing the Quran, that it's very important to know what you're actually memorizing, putting into your heart, and really contemplating and actually putting this into action and following the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you for sharing that with us.
It's worth mentioning, that understanding the Arabic language also helps in memorizing the Quran. When you know what you're saying, sometimes, in most cases actually, it helps you in your hifz, and that's how you remember it also. Okay. I mean, I think you should make a routine of memorizing the Quran. You can have two parts to this: memorizing the Quran and also reading it with the meaning, the bit that you've memorized, or before you actually start to memorize it, read the meaning and then memorize it, and this should be done on a consistent routine. Okay,
so consistency is very important.
Of course.
Whether you can even slip in 15-20 minutes every evening, in the morning.
Even a little bit every single day. It should be every single.
The barakah lies in consistency. Yeah, of course. Okay, jazakallah khair. Well, there you go, viewers. It gave me great pleasure to interview our Qari Uthman Qasim. For those of you who live within close proximity to the masjid, Qari Uthman Qasim will still be leading the prayers here until the end of Ramadan, inshallah. And if you want to come and join us and take part in this wonderful atmosphere at Green Lane, then by all means come and join us. The prayer starts at 10 o'clock every evening for the remainder of Ramadan, and we hope to see you, and I hope you've really benefited from our interview here with Qari Uthman Qasim, and we look forward to seeing you some other time. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
غرباء غرباء غرباء